Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Now, just by show of hands, how many of you are familiar with ExxonMobil? There's quite a few hands there. Now, keep your hands raised and continue to keep them raised if you think ExxonMobil would be considered an ethical company. So not that many of you, and that's why I'm here today, is I'm here to talk about corporate social responsibility and how ExxonMobil follows that. And they do that in three different ways. They do that through their commitment to the environment, their commitment to the community, and through ethical behaviors as reported in the media. Now, for those of you who are a little unfamiliar with ExxonMobil, I'm just going to give you a slight history lesson on their company. They were formed in 1999, so they're relatively new. They were formed by descendants of John D. Rockefeller, and I know a lot of you know who he is from 5th grade social studies class, but he was one of the leading innovators in this industry, and he has had a huge impact historically on the industry. And they are currently one of the world's most largest publicly traded companies throughout. Now, that first point that I brought up was the commitment to the environment, and I feel like this is the most important to ExxonMobil because of the way that they've been scrutinized in the past. They've been scrutinized for the global warming, the fossil fuels, and they were also scrutinized in greenhouse gas emissions as well. Now, ExxonMobil made their very first movement in 2004 when they decided that they were going to release a public statement trying to go along with what they wanted to do and the ideas that they had for improving their commitment to the environment. Now, no sooner than this was released, they started to receive criticism for those statements, and basically the media not believing what they were going to do. But as you'll see throughout my presentation, they have made vast improvements since then. One of those improvements that they do, and they still do this to this day, but over the past few years they have held over 900 meetings in 300 villages. Now, what they do is ExxonMobil sends representatives out to scope the area, and they meet with some of the village heads. Now, if the village people and ExxonMobil believe that what they're going to do on these work sites in these villages is going to be potentially harmful to the environment, they end up just scrapping it and changing their route. And they've actually done that before. There was a specific village that felt that whatever Exxon was going to do there was going to be potentially harmful to their environment and to their land, so Exxon simply just changed their route. And lastly, and this is one of the newest examples, is these Liberty-class tankers. And ExxonMobil has decided to build 2 new ones, which are actually not only meeting but exceeding the efficiency standards that have been set by different acts and laws. Now, these Liberty-class tankers are going to be taking cargo from up in Alaska down to the West Coast. And the ways that they are going to help the environment, in addition to exceeding efficiency standards, is they are actually going to be doubling protection on these ships, so the cargo and the oil will all be dual protected. And they're also going to be generating less air emissions as well. Which is going to lead me to my next point, which is going to be the commitment to the community. Now, there are a few different examples with their commitment to the community, and one of the most recent ones would be shale rock. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with shale rock, basically what it would be doing is digging down into shale rock for natural gas. And as you can see on my PowerPoint, this is one of the largest debatable topics right now, as you can see in the Time magazine. But they want approval, and this is where they are committed to the community. They want Americans' approval in order to do so. So what Exxon is currently doing is they are marketing and campaigning the benefits to drilling for shale rock, and what they're doing is polling Americans, and if Americans are on board with it, then they are going to pursue with it. But until they gain their approval, they're going to continue to do what they're doing and just try and campaign those effects. One that was a few years ago is out in Jakarta. There are many young children who are either financially unable to attend school or simply just don't understand the benefits of a good education. And ExxonMobil continues to donate stationery, and up to this point they've donated over 3,000 different stationery items to help these children understand the usefulness of the education and getting them a good education. And lastly, their commitment to the community is, again, I'm going to bring up the Liberty-class tankers example. Now, the construction of these is going to bring up 1,000 jobs, 1,000 direct jobs that this is creating. So not only are they exceeding the standards, but they're also getting jobs along with this as well, which, as you all know, we could really use in America right now. Now, lastly, I just wanted to talk about how ExxonMobil is portrayed in the media. And I'm sure as a lot of you know, that they are portrayed many times as negative in the media and not having much corporate social responsibility. Now, the very first report that I had saw was that there were reports that they were trying to pay a scientist $10,000 to dig up a defense for fossil fuels, basically declining that they had anything to do with negative effects on fossil fuels. Now, while nothing was proven, you obviously know that this has a negative effect, negative look on ExxonMobil. The second part that I wanted to speak about was Equatorial Guinea. Now, to this day, ExxonMobil is still not allowed into Equatorial Guinea, and I believe it is for this reason. Years ago, they attempted to pay officials to be able to continue to dig in Equatorial Guinea and to stay there and to continue working. Now, some of you may think that this may not be an issue legally, but it actually goes against the Foreign Corrupt Policies Act. Now, what that states is that no company can pay foreign officials or any officials to continue to stay and to dig into an area or to work in an area. And that's what they were accused of doing. Now, again, just like before, nothing was proven, but it still has a bad outlook on them. Another poor ethical choice by their part was their corporate social responsibility spending. Now, there's an article out there that actually compared what they were spending to other companies, and not only that, but comparing what ExxonMobil was spending it to. My example is in 1 year they spent billions on royalties, while they only spent millions on the community. And I know this is quite comical for some of you who think that we're comparing billions and millions here and they're still donating a lot. However, you want to see that even out a little bit more, to donating more towards the community. And I think that ExxonMobil has been taking those steps to do so. But there was one brand new one that was a very positive outlook on ExxonMobil, and that was the Opening Minds Corporate Leadership Award. The current CEO, Rex Tillerson, was recently awarded this. And for those of you who are not familiar with the award, because I know I wasn't when I first researched it, it's actually a award that they have received for helping women and minority be a little bit more educated. And not only educating them, but teaching them to educate others for education. Now, the only issue that I had saw with this was, while this is a great community effort here for them teaching the women and minorities this, there's really nothing positive that we've seen as how they're doing in the environment, in the media. I think a lot of us are so used to just seeing negative effects, and they need to make more efforts and continue these strides in order to get ethical behaviors reported in the media with a positive outlook. Now, with all that said, I just want to jump in here to the very last little portion, in that, in conclusion, ExxonMobil has made significant improvements in their commitment to the environment, in their commitment to the community, and in getting some positive outlook in the media. They're actually now considered a role model not only in their industry, but in the entire world for the way that with the way that their ethics are set up now. And I think that this is huge. So I know a lot of you before this presentation were a little uneasy about whether they were an ethical company or not, and I hope that now you will see that they are, in fact, a very ethical company. Thank you.